Hi, Senator Sanders. You've laid out some really visionary ideas on immigration, but as elected president, you'll likely be up against a Congress which is easily scared off immigration reform, and even President Obama's latest executive action is tied up in the courts right now. I'm wondering, how do you plan to make lasting immigration change that can't be undone by some future administration?
A great question. I think that the only way we make real change in America is when millions of people, many of whom have already given up on the political process. We have one of the lowest voter turnouts of any major country on earth. And the people on top like that idea because they want to see a system where nobody votes, where very few people vote, and big money buys elections. That's their idea of democracy. My idea is the very opposite. To do away with Citizens United and substantially increase voter turnout, making it easier, not harder, for people to vote. So I think what we have got to do is lay on the line and tell every American, not just the Latino community, why immigration reform is important to this nation, that we're all in it together. Very briefly, in 2007, I went to a town called Immokalee, Florida. Anybody know what's important about Immokalee, Florida? That's right, tomatoes. I went there in 2007 because I knew that undocumented workers were being exploited in the most ruthless manner possible. Literally, in some cases, held in virtual slavery. When you have people who have no legal protection, who can be exploited, it is not only unfair and inhumane to those workers, what does it mean for every worker in America? If I can pay you $4 an hour because you have no legal protection, I don't have to pay him a living wage. So when we give legal rights to undocumented workers, what we are doing is standing up for every worker in America in our effort to rebuild the American middle class. And all people have got to know that. So my answer essentially is building a political movement. You got white workers, you got black workers out there who are struggling for 10, 11 bucks an hour. We need the help of the immigrant community to raise the minimum wage to 15 bucks an hour. We have got to stand together. Youth unemployment in America. You know what youth unemployment is for Hispanic kids? And underemployment, 36%. African American kids, 51%. No one group can do it alone. We need to come together. So that's my message. That every American has got to stand together to fight for an economy that works for all of us and not just Donald Trump and his billionaire friends.
I think most of us in this room would agree that we have a pretty toxic Congress, and we have for over a decade now tried to pass comprehensive immigration reform. So my question to you is, as president, what would you do specifically to work with such a dysfunctional Congress to make sure that we pass a comprehensive immigration reform bill that includes a path to citizenship, and is it full with toxic provisions around border militarization and the likes?
That's right. And let me repeat what I said a moment ago. I voted for the 2013 bill. It was not a great bill. We know that. It was better than nothing, I thought. I will tell you two things, and I don't want to mislead you here. I do have a history of being able to work with Republicans. In the last Congress, I was chairman of the Veterans Committee. We passed probably the most comprehensive veterans healthcare legislation in decades, and I have to do that working with people like John McCain, people like Jeff Miller over in the House. I can work with Republicans. But, I gotta be honest with you, so long as Republicans think that they gain politically by demonizing the immigrant community and by appealing to racism, we're not going to win the struggle. And that's getting back to Julianne's point. Our job is to bring people together, to say to white working class people, you know what, it's not the immigrants who are your opponents. It's not the immigrants who have sent you a job abroad. It's not the immigrants who are refusing to raise the minimum wage. These are the people who are doing it, and you've got to stand together. And when we do that, I think immigration reform can be one of the very important fundamental changes that we make in America to transform this country and improve lives for all of our people. But it is a question of creating a movement. I have said it and I'll repeat it again. This election is not just electing Bernie Sanders president or Hillary Clinton or anybody else president. Nothing significant is going to happen unless we build a movement. If 63% of the American people don't vote, as was the case last November, we are not going to make the changes that we need. So we need leadership, we need vision, we need people prepared to take on the greed of Wall Street and the billionaire class. That is what this campaign is attempting to do.